Hey guys, and welcome back to another What If here. Today we are doing part 2 to What If Female Naruto was a Uchiha. And for those who are wondering, am I going to randomly, not follow my own upload schedule that I've gone through? So, somewhat sad, I think the first part of this. Part 1 of this, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I think so. But yes, I will. So this will be every Monday. Wednesday will be what if female Naruto was Kaguya's reincarnation. Every Friday will be what if Naruto, what if female Naruto, what if Kumisaka was turning Naruto female. I think that's how I did it, yeah, but that what if you guys know what I mean, hopefully. Anyway, so if you want to know what happened in the last part, you can go and watch it. I'll be linking the description down below to the playlist to this what if, though it will only have one other video, that being part 1, as this is only the second ever part. So yes, and as I stated just a couple of seconds ago, if you want a catch up, go and watch it. It will give you much more detail than what I can explain. The only reason why I would possibly think of doing a recap is if it's, say, been a month since the first part, which I know hasn't. I think it's been possibly shy of a week, 2 weeks maybe. Yeah, around a week or 2. But yes, if it's either a month old or a minimum of a month old, or it over if it's over around 2 hours long, I'll possibly do a recap, because around that time it'll probably be more information than progress, so you're probably going to be more bored, sitting through, going, you're just sitting through like a 2 hour part. So I'd do a recap there. So yes, anyway, so let's get into this. So we'll be somewhat roughly carrying off where I left it last part, though. I'm going to go into the kind of week that spanned from, say, Naruto killing the 250, 300, whatever, not clones, what's it called? Ghetto's thugs, and around passing out from just the after kind of a lot of realization and that. Yeah. So during that week, of course, she'd woken up and she'd almost immediately, she'd somewhat woken up, looked round, realised where she was, and she breathed out a somewhat sigh of relief. Then the mindset of what she'd done, and she immediately burst out in tears, because she'd been somewhat called throughout her life. There'd be people that have called her, monster, demon, family killer, and kind of those were somewhat going through her head, and plus what she just done, it would somewhat hammering the not so nice names people had called her. And Kakashi had almost immediately, it was already up, everyone was up. It was around, it wasn't exactly midday yet, it was around, say, 10, half 10, 11. And as such, Kakashi had almost immediately burst through the room, and with her hearing someone running, and then the door almost busting open, she had flung herself out of the bed and into as far as where she could get from the door. Survival instincts. Anyone would, if you hear random, either banging at your door or that, if you hear banging at your door and you live alone, you'll probably are going to get to the other side of your bedroom as far as you can from your door and arm yourself with something. Especially if you're emotional, you're bound to do that. So, yeah. And once she'd backed herself almost immediately away, she'd somewhat looked up and realised it was just Kakashi, and she'd somewhat just carry on crying as Kakashi would almost immediately realise and bursting through a door isn't the smartest thing to do when you hear someone crying. Doing that is probably either going to get yourself killed. You should know that he's been on the receiving end on a lot of kunai. Yes, he's done it he's done it a couple of times. By this point you'd think he'd remember that. You don't burst into a room when someone's crying. You knock on the door and open it. You don't burst through it, otherwise you're bound to possibly get stuff thrown at you. Though luckily enough, Naruto was in such a almost so far just down in her crying and feeling like she was a monster that she could care less. Yeah, though if it was an enemy, yeah, she'd almost immediately snap into survival instincts and probably have killed the person before realising what she'd just done again and drowned herself in even more sorrow, pity, or no, I don't know what you'd call it, but yeah. And well, Kakashi would somewhat walk over to her and sit down and would go, "It's alright, Naruto, everything's alright, but you're no monster. You're no monster for killing all those people you did. Just remember, they were all thugs, they were high. Just think of the atrocities they have most likely done to, well, say other girls like you. Well, yeah, other girls. Think of what other like you've saved. Say the girls of this village from possibly going through from you possibly know. I'm doubtful you've ever been through a situation like that, but just think of all those girls you've just saved from going from being raped and that. Just think of just how many they have done, how disgusting they've been. And if they've had a family, that's even more disgusting. Just a lot more. That is just incredibly disgusting. She'd somewhat nod though, she'd still be crying as Cassie would just would just somewhat just stuck out. He wouldn't really know how to cheer someone up. He's more of a ninja. He has been since he was around 6 years old. Yeah, around 5-6 years old, so he didn't exactly know how to cheer someone up. Yeah. And he'd just know that he didn't even know how to comfort someone. Yeah. He was a fighter. He wasn't someone who could, like a fighter 1 minute and like a family man the next. He was a almost purebred fighter and almost nothing else. Yeah. And couple minutes would go by as Sakura would come in, of course. Obviously, in that sense, he just vanished almost instantly. And when he hadn't returned, she'd gone to look. Sasuke was up and about, and when she'd saw her and Naruto's bedroom wide open, she'd immediately went to it and had just seen Naruto in the corner just crying as I should just look at her. I'm gonna just say, I'm gonna just somewhat mouth to her. What do I do here? Yeah, it's well, Sakura just go. She would even somewhat just blank as she's been in the Naruto, well, not exactly in her situation, but in somewhat situation where she's been comforted. So though she didn't exactly know how to comfort one that's just, killed, like hundreds of people, compared to just being bullied about your forehead. They're wildly two different things, and would somewhat take obviously a different a different way to comfort someone, because do it wrong and you would probably end up with them hating you and making them feel even worse than what they were. So she'd simply just shrug. I guess she would just sigh and go. She'd go, will it ever get easier? Well, I should go, no, killing will never get easier, and if it does, then yeah, you really would become a monster. You crying shows to everyone that you're no monster. You are simply a little girl that hates to kill. It is human to feel like this. It is completely understandable. Everyone will go through that. Well, every ninja goes through a stage like this, and yeah, it is. Yes, killing never gets harder. Always. Well, it is never gets easier. Not gets harder. Stupid. Yeah, never gets easier. Though the pain of it also never gets any easier as well. It's always the same painful, but you just learn to deal with it. What do you mean, learn to deal with it? Well, like how I read books to deal with my grief from killing people, watching teammates die in front of me, and yeah, I read books to get my mind off of it. Some people grow a garden to get their mind off of things. Some cook and become very good at it. Some go into other skills. Some play the piano or teach themselves how to play the piano. Some just train themselves into the ground so that one day they'd be so strong, so feared that just seeing them would cause like the enemy to run in the opposite direction. And yeah, so even I once cried when I first took my first life, and so is every other ninja from Konoha. We generally hate, and I mean really hate, killing, and generally if you don't hate it and somewhat enjoy it, then you tend to be put into the interrogation department. You tend to be pulled out of surface and thrown into the interrogation department. That's the best place for people in the ninjas of Konoha who somewhat like killing people. They're generally the best for torture, because they will enjoy the people suffering, and they can probably deliver the most amount of pain before they die, before the person they're interrogating they die. Don't think you need to know that, but don't really know what to say to cheer you up, so I'm just saying anything that comes to my mind. So just somewhat I would say, well, thanks for trying, Sensei. That's, yeah, maybe you should spend less time in the books and more in reality around people, and somewhat maybe more around girls to learn how to actually say be an emotional support person. I should just look at it as, should go, what, maybe pairing your face in your books, can have a defect as well. And why would you say, well, you're always late, you're claimed as the laziest person in Konoha. So I'd say maybe pulling yourself out of the books and just trying to be around people, just say trying to possibly talk with them, maybe not going to, say, your local bar and like drinking, or a restaurant and eating there, maybe just say, maybe possibly even say, if you, I don't know, I guess I'd have possibly a self-proclaimed rival. I should go, yeah, why? Well, maybe you do some training with him, her, or go out, go on a walk with that person and talk maybe about some of your struggles, or I don't know, but it seemed like obviously maybe you somewhat being too dedicated to being a ninja has caused you to somewhat be more of a more, I'm not really sure, but yeah, you don't really seem to care much about people. But I you may say you do, Sensei, but up until, say, we came, was there ever a point in your life where you decided to somewhat, say, on a whim, go and check up on, say, just, say, go and, say, go to the orphanage and, check up on all the orphans there at any one point to see how they were doing, or check up on if there was any homeless people that may need maybe a bit of food, a bit of water, some comfort. Lukasu would somewhat just look a bit somewhat stunned, but would shake his head no. I'm obviously it's understandable that, well, it's not obviously your somewhat job to do any of that, but maybe always bearing your face in your books is somewhat cause maybe you to never exactly ever build any true friendships. You know people, but like that you never really get any closer to them as, just comrades, or you're just your comrades, they're never your friend or your best friend. And yeah, and well, yeah, and after all, you must become a friend before you can date someone. Otherwise, it would be stupid, really. Gosh, you'd somewhat thinking of going, well, I don't know. And yeah, and obviously during the week, well, once they'd, after that week, they'd headed back because it had taken a week for the bridge to somewhat, it had taken a day or two to be repaired, and then like everyone was all hands on deck to get the bridges built as fast as possible, otherwise it would have taken a possible another month. But yeah, with all the help, it had only taken a week. And, well, yeah, I think I said the last one, but Zabzai disappeared near the end and then reappeared on the last day with a ton of just like a massive bag of money, and say, I've taken my lot that he would have had to pay me, but you take whatever this mission would cost, and give, like, the rest will be in for the villagers. They clearly need it. Kakashi would just somewhat not be surprised that you'd take out the exact amount that the upgrade to A rank would cost. And the bridge builder, it would say thank you to Zabazai. Zabazai would just simply look at the direction of Haku's grave and would say, don't mention it. It would be the thing he'd want. As well, yeah, Haku could still somewhat see it was hard for obviously Zabza to move on. It was, you could tell it in his voice that it was hard for him, and that he was just somewhat beating himself up, because if he just simply listened to him, he Haku would have possibly still been alive, and they would have been somewhere else, or yeah, who knows where they would have been. But oh wow, yeah. And well, yeah, once they'd gotten back to Konoha, and during the somewhat run back which they'd done, well, Nato was somewhat just reflecting on herself, and yeah, and she really hated killing, though she'd somewhat would resolve herself that, and she'd think that if she'd ever have to kill, she would, though she'd somewhat listen to Kakashi in the way of, like, yeah, she would need a way to say cope with it, but also maybe have more than one way, maybe 2 or 3 different ways to cope with it, so she's not, like, say, pushed into a situation where she's still maybe brilliant at that thing, but can't really interact with people, though some stuff may not, but yeah, still. Yeah. And, well, yeah, she could, if she's having, say, a hard time dealing with it, she could possibly say, go and hunt down Sakura and maybe, say, go on a walk or whatever, what other things girls do. She may be a girl, but she really doesn't know what girls really do. Yeah. Besides from what she knows of in school, which were all the fangirls, all the girls there, 99 of them being, 99.98 of them being fangirls, the 0.02% of them that one was Hinata and of course Naruto. Those two were the only two that really wouldn't talk about boys or really had zero interest in Sasuke. Yeah. Whereas Hinata did have a somewhat love interest for Naruto. She could care less about anyone. Like any of the boys, she could care less. They're all somewhat idiotic and show off, besides say Choji and Shikamaru, who she was friends with and they were okay to be around. But besides those two, the rest were just, say, somewhat in her opinion, stupid idiots that tried showing off, especially Kiba's. She's constantly turning him down. Though, yeah. And obviously, the more he asked, the more violent she got in her says of no's, to the point where she had threatened him to cut his manhood off. And had pulled out a actual kunai and pretty much, she'd thrown it, but it just missed by a millimeter, though she deliberately missed it by a millimeter, and he'd immediately ran off. He'd went pale and ran in the opposite direction. Yeah, some people never learn when to say no. No, not when to say no, when to give up on someone. If they're physically going to do you harm, then you better off just saying fine and leave. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, they'd somewhat get back, and the guards were somewhat having a fit all day. They'd immediately, they'd seen somewhat Team 7, walking back, and as they'd somewhat went, it seems like, Kakashi's back. Wonder how that mission went. Yeah. Then he'd hey, is that fourth person with them? Well, of course it'd be Kakashi. Oh no, sorry, not fourth, fifth. It's like, huh? You'd look back and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like, as they'd come closer and closer, they'd immediately grab out their kunais and they'd realise Zabza was with them. And yeah, they'd then reached the gates after a couple of seconds of, a couple of seconds more of walking. And as the guards would go, Sabza and Momochi, you're under arrest, as Naruto would immediately step in and go, no, he's here to join Konoha. Well, but he's what, yeah, so you just look at them dead in the eye and go, he's what? He's simply just a person who wants to join. So what if he's missing then? Are you just going to limit someone from entering Konoha? Well, have Armbu trail us all the way to Gigi's office, or I don't know, Armbu accompany us, or something else, but he's coming with us to Gigi's office. Got it. Then someone look at one another and we just look and go, look at Kashi would just simply nod and would go, and we'd just simply mouth to them, I wouldn't mess with her, she's not in the best of moods. They'd somewhat just go, just don't try anything, got it. You just look at them and would go, yes, I know. And they would be allowed through, and Sakura would somewhat look over at Naruto and go, what's up with you? You're generally never really like this. She'd sigh and would go, well, what do you think? Sakura would just blink and go, the killing, no, that's not right. Jeez, for a gal, you really are stupid sometimes. Hey, what's that meant to mean? I just said, for a gal, you're stupid. Indicating it's only a thing a gal would experience. Sakura would still somewhat stare at her blankly as she'd somewhat sigh and go, fine, never mind, you'll know when you have it. Sakura would just somewhat blink again, and Kakashi would pick up and go, so that's why you've been like this for the past, yeah, for today. Well, at least one knows, and he's a guy. So just say that to Sakura. Sakura would just be even more curious as then Zabuza would go, damn, it really affects you. As you just look at him and it's like, and now another one knows. It's like, no, knows what? Like even Sasuke would be somewhat confused, like, what would Sensei and, their somewhat perceived enemy, or what is enemy now, frenemy? Like, new as well, what? The reason why she was picking on Sasuke was it was somewhat known that Mal boys probably wouldn't know what she's on about, and even if you don't really know, then meh. Yeah. Anyway, so they'd continue on to into the Hokage Towers. They would make it up, and Kakashi would knock on the door as Hiruzen would shout out, enter. They would enter, and the guards would immediately drop down and surround Zabuza's. Hiruzen would get up and would say, it's like, you do know who is right beside you, Kakashi? Yes, I do know. On my left, in front of me is my team. Sasuke, Sakura, Naruto, and to my right is Zabuza Momochi. So then, why have you brought him here? Well, GG, I think he can answer that by himself. He can speak after all. And somewhat be taken aback by how Naruto just spoken to him. It's the first he'd ever heard her spoken like that to him, as she'd somewhat look at her and would go, are you okay? She'd go, I'm feeling dandy. The somewhat two female Anbu in the room that were the four Anbu in the room that was surrounding not Haku, Zabuza, two of them being female, would somewhat look at her and would realise why she was somewhat acting that way, and she would look at Kakashi as he would simply nod and would also indicate that Zabuza also knows why she's acting this way. The two Anbu would just somewhat nod. It's like, well, at least, by Sensei wasn't as stupid as the Hokage. And go, here's me just somewhat blink and go, there's definitely something up with you. What is it? Do I really have to shout out to the world? So what out to the world? You'd be getting more impatient as Kakashi would go, no, he's a very old man, don't forget, and most men, sorry, what I meant to say was, no men go through what girls go through on a monthly basis. Hiruzen would blink and would look at her and would go, you're first? And she would just simply look at him and just nod as Sakura would go, first what's going on? So, and he's going to just look at Sakura and go, and just like, he's like, you'll understand when you go through what? What is going on? If you don't tell me, I don't know. Well, you'll know what we mean when you go through it. That's all that you need to know. Okay. As Sasuke goes, so we're dying. Well, no, Sasuke, you wouldn't, but, well, you shouldn't, and, well, if you somehow do, then I guess you was actually secretly a girl all this time, but otherwise, no, men don't go through what Naruto is having. All girls at the somewhat age of Naruto would somewhat start, or well, would have what she's now going through. So I could still somewhat be puzzled. She'd, of course, really never had it before, so of course she wouldn't really know. And, well, sure, she was somewhat smart, but she was smart in other ways, not exactly on, like, the female body, well, the human anatomy, the female, yeah. So she wouldn't exactly know what girls go through on a monthly basis, or whatever. She's obviously young after all, she may be 12, or possibly 13, I'm not really sure, but yeah. Anyway, here's gonna just go find an Zabuza. Why have you accompanied Team 7 here? Here, may I ask? Well, Kakashi, Zabuza, and Team 7 would somewhat explain what had happened, during the mission, though when it got to the killing, the mass killing that Naruto had somewhat done in a angered state. Yeah, well, Kakashi would say that, though he'd keep a somewhat hand on Naruto's head and would somewhat stroke it a bit, saying that he, is someone here if she does ever need to talk about it. Hiruzen would just look at her and would go, so, well, and would go, so you're wanting to join Konoha? Yes. Zabuza would say, as Hiruzen would think about it and go, well, there's two ways of doing it. You could go through, say, some jail time, then go for a parole period, and then after that parole, you can then, which I'd see fit to, and then, you would be made a jonin of Konoha, or there's the second option where you'd, say, go on parole almost immediately right now with a team. You'd be with a group of, you'd be with people, and obviously if you do anything bad, that would be paint Konoha in a bad light or anything like that, you'd be immediately put in prison. Got it? He'd simply nod and Naruto would somewhat know, then why don't you just put him with us? We already know him, and it's also somewhat for the better, because we've fought him, and plus we can he'd somewhat be a benefit to training. Here's a look at her and go, and would look at Kakashi and go, "Are you fine with this, Kakashi?" Kakashi would try and go, "Sure." He'll make a he'll make a good sparring partner. Hiruzen would somewhat think about it for a couple more seconds as he would then go, "Fine." Though note this, Zabuza, that you must very much you must very much very much like your sword. You must, on parole, the only time I'll give you your sword is when you go on missions with Team 7 outside of Konoha. So if they're D ranks, you won't have your sword. Though I will permit you to carry a smaller sword with you, but only when you go on missions that will take you specifically outside of Konoha will I give you your sword. Got it? You just simply and go, "Well, I don't exactly like that, but I can somewhat understand your obviously you know that you're from how you are, an enemy ninja, so of course as they'd somewhat reluctantly hand it over, and someone gave him a you'd go, Kakashi takes you down to one of Konoha's many ninja weapon stores so you can get a sword. It's something odd as Hiruzen would go, "Now then, you are all dismissed, though Naruto, could you somewhat stick around for a bit?" She'd somewhat nod and she'd somewhat guess that he was just going to possibly try and get her mind really off of it, and obviously they'd all leave. Sasuke would go off to the Uchiha compound to train Sakura. Sakura wouldn't exactly know what to do, so she'd just go home. She'd want a bed. She'd missed a bed. She'd want it. And Kakashi would somewhat take Zabuza to the place that Hiruzen was on about. To almost all the stores in Konoha, all the weapon stores, almost all of them were either too brittle or just not well balanced. They were somewhat poor in quality, though somewhat understandable as there were very few proper craftsmen, and the few that they were quite expensive, and and then Kakashi would just say, "This is the last store they'd enter," and the person would look up and immediately realise, obviously Zabuza, many people knew who he looked like, what he looked like, and with somewhat back away, though then someone see Kakashi would say, sorry, he's now a new part of Konoha. He's on parole at the moment, and as such, he's come here looking for his sword. The person would simply nod and would somewhat go to the back and bring out all his finest swords he's made. And Zabuza would look around and see that this place was very very high quality. And be surprised, a store like this should be bustling with people. As you look at the castle and go, why isn't there a lot more people here? A lot more ninjas. As Castle would look back and go, see you've got an eye for detail. So I would just somewhat look at him with deadpan expression and go, I'm a swordsman, of course I would have an eye for detail. Castle would just chuckle awkwardly and go, yeah, and well, it's just somewhat out of the play, like out of the way type deal. And well, yeah, this is this is pretty much one of the only really niche store that actually would sell to Naruto. As the person would hear and go, oh, Naruto, so how is she? I haven't seen her in a while. Where she's been. Where's she been? As Cassie would go, she's been with me being part of Team 7, and we had our first, C, and, our first attempt at a C rank, though it got upgraded to an A rank, and we brought back a person, as you can see, and just no one go, how is she doing? Was she okay? Well, she's I don't really know what to say there, as maybe she's okay. She's somewhat turbulent and unstable at the moment. Emotions are, as well, plus going through the time of the month for her first ever period, and she did also kill 259 thugs. Is 259. That's it's more than almost any Genin has ever killed. That's for sure. She definitely came in with a bang into the ninja world, that's for sure. Yeah, well, I guess she is in his market after all. Is they always like doing things, go big, go home type deals. Buzzman chuckle, yep. Somewhat like her mother, though. Don't ever remember her mother ever killing that many. Oh, her mother? As I was like, oh, her mother? Huh. Now you mention it, is her mother? Kashima nodded yes. Kushina Uzumaki. I thought so, she looked familiar. Damn does she look like her mother, but she has blue eyes. The only person I could think of who's got that such, blue eye would be the fourth Hokage, and well, it somewhat makes sense because somewhat after the war it was stated that those two were somewhat seeing each other. Because we just go, yes, that is her father as well, but she doesn't know. To my knowledge, she doesn't know, so unless she comes up and simply just name drops her mother and father, I'd keep your mouth shut on her parents. Why? She's got the right to know. Yeah, but it's more of a order from Hokage himself. What? That's stupid. She should know who her parents are. I somewhat agree, but I can't just do your own. It'd be somewhat looking at like being treasonous. It just somewhat sound go. And just well, fine. I'll stay quiet, but she will eventually know. she will eventually find out. As Kakashi go, oh, I know. I very much know. Oh, why do you say that? Well, she somewhat has guards, let's say, and they're probably eventually, whenever, going to tell her. Oh, she has guards? Well, used to when she was growing up she did, but I don't think she has anymore. So I was just somewhat nod and go, then what is she? What do you mean? Well, on the we'll talk about that later, not in front of people. He would say his episode would somewhat just look at him questionably, but would just go, okay. And the person would come back from would come back from the back and would, would say, these are all my finest weapons I've ever made. And yeah, obviously someone just made randomly, or made for people who have never managed to get their hands on them as they've died. So yeah, or they've just placed the order and forgotten about it. And yeah. And well, yeah, after they decide on one, and after paying for it, they'd somewhat leave as Kakashi go, now then, where would you be staying as? So I would go, I'm guessing with you, why, well, I'm on parole. I don't think you would want me in a apartment or home by myself now, ready. And plus, you obviously, like if obviously you never say turn up one day, then it's a very obvious thing that I have, killed you. Kakashi would just somewhat go, yeah, fine, this way then. This is where I live. Yeah. And well, yeah, of course, back with Naruto, who's in it. Somewhat would just talk to her and somewhat his own experience on, taking his first kill. Sure, he's never actually ended up killing possibly more than maybe 50 to 100 people in a day, but yeah, he doesn't really, obviously, but it's a lot, especially in a single day, but that wasn't his first kill. That was maybe his his cool 50, maybe maybe 1,000 kill he's done. So he was already used to the feeling. So yeah, and well, it somewhat make us slightly feel better though. Yeah. And anyway, after that she'd then leave after the talks were finished, and would go looking for her previous Anbu guards, aka Minato's own Anbu guards. Before Fukage's guards when Minato was alive. So yeah, and after 5-10 minutes she'd find them, or one of them, and would tell them that she experienced what the person said, a burning sensation in the eyes. The person had immediately let go, said, okay, meet me at your place, and I'll have the others with me. She just nodded and she'd go home. She didn't really know what was so important, but apparently whatever that was, she's somewhat now wondering who her parents were now, and she'd remember that they somewhat promised once she'd experienced that they'd explain what that was, and also who her parents were, why that was related to the brightening in the eyes. She didn't know. It didn't make sense to her at the moment. And well, that's where I'm gonna end it off, guys. So if you guys obviously want part 3, tell me in the comments down below. And well, yeah, if you guys, I was thinking of saying something, but I can't remember what I was thinking of now. Okay, so obviously, as I said, if you've enjoyed it, if you've enjoyed it, tell me in the comments down below. If you want part 3, tell me. And yeah, stay safe, and have a good day or night, depending on whenever you're watching this. And well, yeah, whenever you're watching this. And yeah, goodbye.